walk in fashionably late to this meeting. I don't think they're started yet. Big bad City Hall ahead of us there. So I'm sure a lot of you probably already heard that they're going to shut down public comment tonight, or try to anyway. We'll see how that works. And there's probably going to be some scenes here tonight, I bet, because there's a lot of people not happy about the public comment situation. And if anybody gets thrown out of this one tonight. I got money on yeah. Who do you think's going to get thrown out? Is there a crowd? I hope there's a crowd. Yeah, John, you're probably right. It's going to be Justin get thrown out. So they're doing proclamations. I'll step back over here and tell you guys what's going to happen so we're not accused of disrupting anybody. But so tonight they have on the agenda that they're wanting to change public comment. And the impetus for this is that they need to be able to get business done before the commissioners are too exhausted with the drama or just too wore out for being up too late. I mean, I know it's a stretch for somebody like Lisa, but damn. Wasn't that something, John, that library video? And I tell you, when I first saw that, I couldn't believe it. He didn't do a damn thing in there. He walked in and just stood there, and they created the scene themselves, just like they do all the time. Oh, I got my signs, guys. I got two different ones with me tonight. Here, I'll set them out where I can show them to you. So we got the screw the bad cops and the good ones that won't turn them in. And then just because I expect he's probably going to be here, we brought Courtney Shipley sign. So we'll see how that works out. And I know y'all like Chris. You know, everybody on my channel likes Chris Flowers. He's here tonight. How you doing, Chris?
Doing good.
You got some comments written down. Me and Chris were talking about the fact that we could put this on a ballot measure and maybe see about taking public comment out of their hands. What do you say? It'd be the way to do it, right? You ready to walk?
We'll see how it goes tonight.
Huh?
We'll see how it goes tonight.
I don't think it's going to go very well. But they're going to do what they're going to do, right?
Yeah. Well,
Here.
that's what I'm.
So here, let's
trying to stop them from.
set that right there. Looky there. He had to stand up and get in the way. Or is he a part of this? Public Service Appreciation Month. And look who we're going to appreciate. That's little Rhodes that threw Justin out of here. We got to appreciate that public service because he's the one that threw Justin out that night. These proclamations are funny. I don't see Justin. Is he in there already? Chris, is Justin here already? Is Justin in there? Okay. He has a sign? All right. What's Justin's sign say? No. We'll wait until the proclamation's out of the way and then go in. Well, there's Amy. So he must be sitting over that way. Courtney, I'm assuming she'll be here at some point.
Well, she might be your ally.
I don't know.
Chief's, I think, is for, because she uses public comment.
Yeah, well, I don't think she's much of an ally for me, that's for sure. She threw me out of here a few times.
I'm just saying, if she's there, say, advocate for public
Yep.
comment, and then you have a sign saying she's
Oh,
lying.
hey, look, guys, Lockhart's here. That's freaking cool.
Someone might be getting kicked out.
Awesome. Yeah, someone might be getting kicked out tonight. Since Lockhart's here, we're gonna have to put up the cop sign. The screw the good bad cops and the good ones that won't turn them in. You guys let people know and spread the word. I'm pushing for 20 grand tonight. We're at like 19,950 or so. There's Justin. We're at 19,950 or so, and if we can get over 20 grand, that'd be kind of good today. Justin's standing right behind. Isn't he a Justin too? A Justin Rhodes? Yeah, we got two Justins here. Look at Justin getting his sign. All right, I won't be able to narrate a lot inside, but I'm gonna go inside so we can make sure the chief sees. Thank you. Let's see, where's the chair?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll sit right up front here. That'd be a good spot.
Whereas the office of the professional
Hey there.
missionary is the third time-honored and vital part of the local government exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of professional municipal clerk is the oldest among the public servants, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government, and all other levels, and whereas the professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and internal professional organizations. And whereas it's most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk. Now therefore, I, Bart Littlejohn, Mayor of the City of Lawrence, Kansas, do hereby claim the week of May 5th through May 11th, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week. And further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Sherry Riedemann, and all professional municipal clerks for all their vital services that they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities that they represent. Moving on to item D, general public comments. Public is not allowed to speak on issues or items that are not scheduled for discussion on the agenda. Comments should be limited to issues and items relating to the business of the governing bodies. The commission will not discuss or debate these items, nor will the commission make decisions on items presented during this time. Members of the public will be limited to 3 minutes for comments. And I will say that we will be discussing our public comment structure later in the agenda,
So this is another one of those times where we have public comment, but we can't talk about public comment?
well,
Okay. And so just to help out everybody else, Bart, I was having a real hard time hearing you.
Yeah, I agree. Mayor, I know we can go through the comments in regards to the information we shared before we do general public comments.
Yeah, but he did it so quietly we couldn't hear. And actually, when he started, he said the public is not allowed to comment on things that are not on the agenda, but I don't think anybody really caught that. It's my public comment time, Bart, if you will, excuse me.
Sir, I am.
You've called for the 3 minutes.
Your minutes, we will start your minute over, your 3 minutes over.
Okay,
I'm commenting right now.
okay.
So, since it is kind of a weird gray area, and we're gonna be discussing public comment at public comment, we can go ahead and discuss general public comment right now.
Oh, I didn't want to. I was just pointing out that it's normally not allowed to talk about since it's an agenda item. What I wanted to talk about is police accountability. You got the chief in here tonight. Screw the bad cops and the good ones that won't turn them in. And he's a bad cop. He signed off on exonerations. Exonerations that he knew weren't quite worded correctly, so he just got himself out of that. That young man had a pressure point shoved into his throat that left bruises and marks, and he bled. Went to the hospital. The sergeant, named Daniel Ashley, that did it, actually wiped the blood off on the man's shirt. He still has that shirt. It's going to be evidence in the civil trial. That case was filed earlier this week. Anyway, last few days it's been filed, May 1st, I think. Very violent. Your Citizens Police Review Board ignored it. Your chief lied about it, signed off on some exonerations saying nothing happened that was a problem. We apologize if the Lawrence Police Department didn't meet your expectations, right? They never meet our expectations. I'll take that back. One time. And now you got on the agenda tonight to talk about the CPRB that hasn't met while they still keep doing stuff. They still keep pulling games and playing games with people's lives, messing with homeless people on the street because they're jaywalking. Guys, I have to drive around people that are walking and jogging and riding bikes and whatever. They wouldn't mess with me. I stood in the middle of the street and called them out, begged them to come mess with me. They won't mess with me, just a homeless guy. We have that homeless to jail pipeline running pretty strong here in town. I have the exonerations. I have his signature on the exonerations in a case that the city is now being sued on for excessive force, police brutality, presumptive probable cause. He knows it. The whole town's going to know it. They're all going to pay for it. It's their tax money he's spending. You gave him $300,000 for that piece of shit artwork out there. Instead, you should have got us a better chief, because he's going to go away soon. He's going to go away.
Hi, my name is Susan. I live here in Lawrence. Today, I want to hold up a copy of the Lawrence Journal World, April 12th edition. It features the presentation of the William Allen White Foundation National Award to the newspaper in Marion, Kansas, and remarks made at KU by the editor upon receipt of the award. This is the first time the award has gone to an organization rather than an individual. Previously, it's been won by Walter Cronkite, Bob Woodward, and other journalists of considerable renown. The editor, on accepting the award, urged the public to stand up to government. The front page quote reads, "We need to be disruptors." I was astonished to see these words on the front page of the paper. Did the editor, Chad Lawhorn, allow a little truth for once? Why has it come to this? It's because people in elected office like yourselves do not understand that they are in office to protect people, their constituents, from government. Previously, I've spoken to you about this. You have the dynamic wrong, the paradigm wrong. Power flows from the people to you. It does not flow from the government down to us. Here's exactly what he said, quote, "There's nothing wrong with causing trouble. If you want to be a disruptor, be a disruptor. We need to be disruptors," end quote. When someone disrupts your self-perceptions with a 3-minute speech, you need to listen and allow that speech. If the speech isn't respectful, it's because respect has not been earned. You have no right to silence anyone for anything or for any arbitrary protocol. Huge lawsuits follow the raid on the Marion newspaper. The editor, Eric Meyer, said the raid came because his newspaper, quote, "stirred up too much trouble," end quote. A weaponized court system and a police department will pay dearly for their lawless, unconstitutional activities. According to Eric Meyer, proceeds from the suits in excess of tens of millions will be donated. He stated, quote, "We have to set the precedent that this is not something that is allowed. This is not something that is allowed under American democracy," end quote. So, an award-winning newspaper's editor set the record straight and has been recognized in a big way. You need to pay attention. No more silencing anyone who disrupts. Instead, flip your power template and begin representing us. If not, you'll have a price to pay, both in court and at the ballot box. People of courage meet their constituents and rally with them. They do not hide. They are not cowards.
Time.
Changing the rules or timing of public comment is an act of supreme cowardice. Thank you.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Amy Laughlin. I'm a Lawrence resident. I want to speak to you tonight about a couple of things. One is why you thought it would be a good idea to put 5G towers on all the water towers. Was it financially driven, or what in the actual you-know-what would make you want to do that? Either money is more important than our health, or you are ignorant and aren't aware of the dangers. I mean, you have them up by all the schools too. There are many people who don't want to be exposed to that, and you're allowing them everywhere. It's not okay. In an inquiry into the deployment, adoption, and application of 5G in Australia, submission 517, it states that 5G is dangerous and will harm every living being. Thousands of studies link low-level wireless radio frequency radiation exposures to a long list of adverse biological effects, including DNA single and double strand breaks, oxidative damage, disruption of cell metabolism, increased blood-brain barrier permeability, melatonin reduction, disruption to brain glucose metabolism, and generation of stress proteins. Let's not forget that in 2011, the World Health Organization classified radio frequency radiation as a possible 28 carcinogen. More recently, the 25 million National Toxicology Program concluded that radio frequency radiation of the type currently used by cell phones can cause cancer. But where does 5G fit in all of this? Given that 5G is set to utilize frequencies above and below existing frequency bands, 5G sits in the middle of all of this. This tells me that you most likely don't give a crap about our health, because you literally were tearing up perfectly good sections of our sidewalks all over town to put 5G below. So now you've got it above and below, just like it says. 2, you've got fluoride in our water. There's arsenic, chromium, which can cause cancer, nitrate, bladder cancer, anyone? That's not even all of it. It's really a shame how obvious it is that you're more concerned with spending our money on making everyone have a safe space, when in reality, if you don't give a rat's ass about our health. We are literally being poisoned through our water, air, and soil. If you care about your citizens, you will rethink this whole 5G placement and get our water good for us. This should be front and center. The only thing we can control is our health. Also, one more thing, it would still be a mistake to take away the people's right to express grievances to you in a public forum. Thank you.
Hello. How are you doing this evening? My name is Gina Valentine. I represent the homeless community, and I am part of the homeless community here in Lawrence. I've lived here for 9 years, and I am very grateful for the opportunity to be able to speak with you folks this evening about some issues I am having. One being, I have an emotional support animal who is also my service pet. He comes with a signed doctor's note through our own doctors here in Lawrence. He has been denied to be with me. He's 12 and a half years old. He's been with me about 12 years now. I got him when I was 6 weeks old. He provides a great deal of emotional support for me and for the people around me. I'm grateful for the Humane Society out here to make available opportunities for people like me to put their pets there to be taken care of. My pet is a different pet. He has never been caged, and I would not suggest that at his age, you could cage him. He's been going through a great deal of emotional issues and physical issues because I cannot be with him. And I just need the federal law to be enacted here about my ESA animal. I would like Lawrence to adhere to that. I have talked to Misty Bosch Hastings, Director of Homeless Solutions, and she does not know federal law or state law according to my animal. She told me I wasn't housed here. She said I wasn't under any housing laws here, and that is complete idiocy. I am a member of this community, and I am speaking for all members that are homeless and deserve their animals with them as long as they have proper documentation, which I have showed. He has been documented in 3 different states. And I believe that something needs to be done. You need to speak with your Director of Homeless Division Solution, because she doesn't know what she's talking about. She actually threatened me with a legal team.
Amen.
And I am not anything legal. I'm just following the state and federal law about my pet. And I expect something to be done about that. Because like I said, him not being with me is the first time in my entire life that I have not been without this animal, and he is suffering along with myself suffering. Again, I need to time.
Ms. Valentine?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, this is Chris Flowers, and I hope you all listen to that last speaker and do something about it. And I definitely think she's a valuable member of the community. But I'm here, I want to talk about corruption. I think there is corruption in this government. And I just want to bring up something from a blast from the past, if you will. Did we ever find out what was going on with those secret emails between the city manager and the police union? Remember, I mean, when we got our current police chief, it was after our former police chief was, well, I guess it was a mutually agreed upon term, a mutual agreement to depart or whatever. I think he was kicked out, but it's just, if our government isn't corrupt, then why was there secret emails going on between our current city manager and the police union to put in the police chief we have now? And if some of it, what I heard earlier from a previous public commenter about police doing things they should be doing, and if the current police chief did something that he shouldn't be doing, how are we actually gonna expect our city manager to do something to hold him accountable when we know he's been doing secret emails with the police union?
Yep.
I mean, it's been a few years, and I don't remember the issue ever being resolved. So I'm assuming it's still going on. Did you all ever get on, chastise the city manager or ask him what was up with that? Because it just seems that we have other stuff going on, such as maybe city staff not following commission direction. I mean, I think that's corruption. If 3 members are supposed to tell staff to do something, and if staff doesn't do it, it's just them acting against the will of the people. So I just hope y'all do something about holding city government accountable, or at least trying to get rid of some of the corruption. Thank you.
Very good.
Kirby Givers here. We've met before, except for you. Here. Democracy, I think, is the best way to estimate kind of the will of the people within the system. I think we all agree on this. But estimating that will is difficult. It involves a involved populace. It means that people actually have to get out and vote and make sure that their voices are heard. But when we put roadblocks in any of those systems, even if under good intentions, we can kind of begin to see that system dwindle. Working class people trying to just get by, students that just don't have enough time. Any of this can stop people from getting involved as an unintentional result of maybe having some kind of overprotected system. And I guess since we're allowed to talk about public comment now, I don't have to kind of do the weird thing where I don't talk about the issue I'm definitely talking about. I think that the issue here is that this will become something that will drop off people in trying to comment. And I think that's kind of part of the intention. You guys have a difficult job, I get it, okay? But without these systems of democracy, without people being, without feeling comfortable approaching their officials, people with malicious intent step forward in place of them. And I think that really is the danger here, whether it's business interests or shampoo lobbyists, whatever it is, we need to make sure that people feel comfortable moving forward and stepping up and making their voices heard. And I think having them wait through issue after issue after issue of boring things that will eventually have people drop off isn't going to help the public. Before we suggested this, it was unpopular, and now I think it still is unpopular. I think that at the end of the day, this is just kind of a necessary element of your job. And I have to apologize for that because a lot of people make it intolerable, they make it difficult, they make it hard to try to service the city. But I think this is a part of it that makes Lawrence better. When I look at other cities, such as Topeka, it's a pain in the butt to do public comment. You have to specifically say what you want to talk about, you have to give your name, you have to register with a public person in that. And while what you're suggesting isn't as bad as that, I think that it still has that chilling effect of making sure that people have to have a very specific schedule to then make public comment. I understand that public workers are going to have to deal with later times and waiting for their issues to come up, but I think that at the end of the day, the benefits outweigh this overall. And so I'll jump back up there, but that's my time.
Hi, my name is Dominique, and I just wanted to make comments about the new Boston crossing that was approved actually by the Commission of Rezoning. And I don't know if there's been information that's been given to you about the updates, but recently the U.S. Army Corps actually found that there are 12.6 acres of regulated wetland on this area. And so I just want to bring up and kind of talk about that and a little bit of the timeline of how we have come to like what is going on, I guess. To begin with, I want to talk about how, we just passed the resolution letting you know if I remember stuffing, talking about how water is so important for public health, et cetera, but we are ignoring kind of the aspect of the wetlands that also ties into that. So if we're going to talk about how water is very important, I believe this also has consideration due to the fact that places like Baker Wetlands, the Haskell Wetlands are cherished by many in the community. Additionally, I'd like to talk about how when the decision for the rezoning was done, I do believe that the commissioners were expressing faith in the system to have all the checks and balances to allow this project to continue going through in the way that it should, with environmental considerations, with other considerations. However, I'd like to point out the fact that the H&H study that was used to approve the permit for the rezoning to begin with was faulty, and the fact that it violates Lawrence's own floodplain regulations. The floodplain regulations essentially state that we have to look at the fully developed floodplain, or watershed, before we can approve any sort of development or rezoning. And the H&H study did not do that. When we look at it, it's only about a mile across the whole property. It does not take into account of the full Waukesha watershed. So I want to bring kind of that point up that we're having faith. This rezoning was done with the intention of all the things working the way they should and having faith, and that's that system, but we're already having a problem at the beginning. This should have never actually been brought up to the commission quite yet because the permit was issued that was faulty. And when we tried to file an appeal to the Board of Zoning Appeals, it was overturned. And the reason was that there was no standing. However, I would like to say that as public officials, you guys actually have the ability to kind of look back at that and maybe look into what's going on and re-raise the Board of Appeals so we can have public comment and public discussion about what's going on regarding this one plot of land that is so essential to not only the health of the Wapparosa, to the folks that are in the southern Douglas County, but also to the bigger wetlands and the Haskell wetlands, which are in city limits. So I do believe the statute is in 2023, and the statute is 12-759 under section B that says that any city official can bring this up to the Board of Zoning Appeals and maybe potentially reinstate that. So I would ask commissioners that if you can look into this and maybe do that so we can have more public discourse and actually foster the Lawrence values of sustainability, environmental protection, and actually get the full picture and ensure that we are following the proper protocols to begin with the city processes. So with that, I thank you for your time.
Good evening, my name is Joel Riggs, I'm a resident of Lawrence, Kansas. I want to talk about the issue of the adoption of a place for everyone, and costs associated with that. That's what I was going to say. Am I allowed to comment on this?
Sir, actually, I do know that it's going to be pulled, so we'll have your opportunity to go ahead and comment on that.
I can comment on that now.
No, then, it'll be pulled in consent, I know. that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll wait my turn. Thank you, Mayor, appreciate it.
Mention that. Mention that.
Hello, my name is Nicole from Lawrence. In regard to the nationwide tyrannical overreach of legislative bodies on freedom of speech, here are some quotes from people who value what it truly means to be an American. If freedom of speech is taken away, then dumb and silent we may be led like sheep to slaughter. George Washington. Restriction of free thought and free speech is the most dangerous of all subversions. It is the one un-American act that could most easily defeat us. William Douglas. I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. S.G. Talentire. Hypocrites get offended by the truth. Just C. Scott. Whoever would overthrow the liberty of a nation must begin by subduing the freeness of speech. Benjamin Franklin. If there is a bedrock principle underlying the First Amendment, it is that the government may not prohibit the expression of an idea simply because society finds the idea itself offensive or disagreeable. William J. Brennan. If we don't believe in free expression for people we despise, we don't believe in it at all. Noam Chomsky. They who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Benjamin Franklin. The dominant purpose of the First Amendment was to prohibit the widespread practice of government suppression of embarrassing information. William Douglas.
Well done.
My name is Dr. Justin Spees. Sign here says, this commission is a bunch of un-American that speaker just said right before me shows it. Can't listen to a little general public comment from the community there, Mike? Spearheading this. All right, so I want to provide an update of the lawsuit that I filed against Lawrence Public Library. I've amended the complaint to add a few more of the library employees that took part in violating my First Amendment rights. And I've also uploaded, just a little while ago, I uploaded both videos that I have of both incidences that are in those that are in the lawsuits, both from May and June of 2022. So if you go to my YouTube channel, the dreaded rabble rouser, you can check it out. The videos are called Lawrence Library First Incident and Lawrence Library Second Incident. And so again, my YouTube channel is the dreaded rabble rouser. So like dreaded, like with the dreads, and then rabble rouser. These videos show just how un-American people are around here. And the mayor sits on the advisory board of the library and oversees not just the violation of our First Amendment rights here in this room, but anywhere there's city property. Anywhere you guys have control, you're gonna control the narrative. It's un-American. This commission is a bunch of un-American pussies.
Okay. Hi, room going more? I'm here to talk about tolerance. It's not possible to tolerate what we celebrate. We can only tolerate that which we both do not celebrate and have the power to stop. We tolerate because we practice democracy. We have democracy because we practice tolerance. People can be wrong. People can believe things that are not true. We do not know everything, and things that we know to be true one day, we now know are demonstrably false later. Sometimes we have to hold the space to be wrong, or there's no room to learn. Thanks, that's all I got.
Hello, good evening. My name is Patrick Ross. I'm a member of the SAVE the Wakarusa River Valley group. I actually emailed a few documents earlier today. As the individual earlier stated, we're calling on the community to send public comment to the Army Corps of Engineers. That window is open until May 16th. If anyone is curious, the email that they should send comment to is regulatory.kansascity@usace.army.mil. And we've also created an online petition through QR code. I don't know if you're able to share that or disseminate that with the public, but that would be helpful in getting that word out as well. And then I wrote a few words on May 1st on behalf of the group, or to share with the group. And I'd like to read those words now. This piece is titled May Day Words. What is Lawrence to you? Your childhood? The place you raised a family? The place you went to school? Are we Lawrence? Are we our past? Are we the ash the phoenix rose from? Are we immortal? Are we the church bell? Are we the metal arch? Are we the sunrise and sunsets? Unfortunately, we allow only 4 people to define who we are now. It's nice to think that they act in the best interest of Lawrence, but their actions suggest otherwise. Demonstrative words and performative actions, this is the leadership we are offered. Our pleas answered, our wishes met every other Tuesday. We work while our city plans our future. Growth, progress, infill, tax base, housing shortage, vagrants. 2023, The city annexed land for the new Boston Crossing development project. The city limit expanded so a single person could make millions of dollars. City code, city and county agreements, H&H study hired by developer, public discussions, public evidence, outcry, destruction, floodplains, Clinton Lake, silt, watershed, 2,300 feet upstream, 2,500 feet down, Army Corps, half acre of wetland, 3 weeks for public comment. May 2nd BZA appeal meeting, lawyers, Wichita, Lawrence indefinitely suspends testimony from the former official who wrote the code. No standing. Public commentary is not heard. Ground is broken. No indigenous representative was present. Methodist beliefs are to protect creation. Do Methodist universities agree? South Lawrence traffic way. Kansas Department of Transportation land for $1 to support wetland conservation is turned into $3 million. Haskell. Indigenous lands.
Time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jamie Jones. I've lived in Lawrence since 2021, and I've been coming here off and on since 2004. Thank you. You, as a commission, you work for us too. And I appreciate your time and things that you're trying to do, some things. But we need public comment. Don't throw away a huge part of Lawrence. We are not garbage people. You want our vote. You want our money, right? We need everyone's voice. Not just large property owners, or business owners, corporations, and politicians. We need the people's voice at this meeting to be heard. The people's voice, you know, there's a lot of us, and we do need to be heard. Don't let us down. Thank you.
Caitlin McDermott, I'm playing up on being a 20-year resident. I've often been in front of this commission or the previous commissions and asking for things or being critical of them. I've been lucky enough more recently to come to these meetings and show my support along with fellow Justice Matters members for the work done on the Place for Everything plan. What I'm here right now, though, to speak about is that if you guys put up barriers to public comment, and not only put barriers to criticisms.
I'm gonna step outside for a minute because it's dull right now, guys, but it's gonna kick back up again here in a little bit. They are, we're going through some public comment here, and then they've got agenda items that are going to really flare things up. And the agenda item about the public comment will be pretty interesting because they're going to, I don't think the commissioners actually know what they're going to do. Bart Littlejohn, the guy in the middle, and Mike Dever over to the left are the two that sent it back to staff a few weeks ago to find out what they could do, and I think staff has come back with a plan to just completely shut it down. And so that agenda item is going to be what we're waiting for, and that's going to be right after public comment, and I believe after the consent item. And if I remember right, public comment is actually on a consent item because we had to have the commissioners pull it. So we can pull an agenda over here and take a look real quick. Because the, put that in the screen there for a little while. Yeah, it's E7C. No, that's the disorderly conduct one. Yeah, that's another thing, guys. What they're going to do is they're going to change disorderly conduct and make it just about fighting words.
And the other thing that I wanted to mention is
Marcus, what do you think, man? Tell them what you think.
About what?
Well, did you get everything out?
No.
You talked good about corruption, and I was seeing the chief kind of him and in his chair when you were talking about the private emails between him and the city manager.
Well, I was setting up corruption for later when I talk about staff with the SAB board. Where
Right.
they were told not to dissolve it, and yet they went ahead and are trying to dissolve it anyway.
Yeah, and that's the Sustainability Advisory Board. So they constantly get told what they don't want to happen, and they just go ahead and do it. Who runs this place? Staff or the damn commissioners?
Yeah.
Exactly.
People who are here and students that are, the students and other community members who are here protesting the way that our tax dollars are being used in this genocide. So I'd appreciate it if
Well, yeah, they can take away public comment altogether if they're going to do that, but I think that would be a bad move for a city government to try to do, because that's a direct assault on the people's ability to redress their government in a public setting. Hey, Ron. Is that it? So they're gonna do some online public comment, and it looks like the online pool is pretty full tonight too. Justin's gonna come out here. You guys leave it? No? Well, are you not gonna stay and do the disorderly conduct thing? It's on the consent agenda.
Are they pulling it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Are they pulling it?
yeah, they said they were. So. No?
Amy's sticking around looking at herself.
You poor late guys.
Good job, both of you.
Huh?
Good job, both of you. You're elevating this to art form.
See if we don't get arrested, you know? Huh? Yes. Yeah. So. I want to know if Courtney Shipley's going to show up at the top.
She usually just comes in last.
I know, that's why I was kind of hanging around, hoping she'd come in. I could show her my sign before I leave. Hey, August.
Disappears back into the shadows.
Right? Right? Let's see if she shows up or not. Are you gonna get out? Man.
I was gonna see you guys that.
Hey, I want everybody to call Justin a pussy because he's leaving. He's not even gonna hang around. Can you believe this? And who do we got in here, guys? Come on, everybody type in pussy. Let's see how many pussies we can get in the screen there. Come on. Come on.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. You know. No.
I must be a lagging real quick, or nobody wants to type pussy in there. Call you a pussy. They must all be afraid of you. You're scary, remember?
Nothing but support. Yeah. I hadn't prepped reading this at all, so I'll just take off once.
Well, you know, the thing is about their fighting words, I mean, according to this commission, just about any word somebody says might be a fighting words. Hey, there we go. Brandon Mitchell called you a pussy. He's a local guy too, man. You
Is he really?
yeah, he's from, where are you from, Brandon? Aren't you from Edgerton or Wellsville or something like that?
I see him in some other channels, but no, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here.
All right.
I said what I needed to say, so
I'll say some more.
cool. I'll be watching.
Have a good one, guys. Gardner, he's from Gardner. Yep, he had to leave. good picture. Justin walking by the cop car there. Kind of juxtapose that. So there's one of your assistant chiefs.
Okay. All right, I'll move us on to item E, consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda.
All right, we're gonna need to talk about some consent agenda items.
Members of the governing body may remove items for further discussion if desired. Items identified as quasi-judicial for further discussion if desired. Members of the public will be limited to 3 minutes for comments. As I said before, I think
Yeah, we want to pull item E7C and E8E.
any additional items? Not seeing any, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda absent those items.
Would we approve the consent agenda with the exceptions of E7C as in cat and E8E as in Edwards? Good.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Passes 5-0. All right. So the first one I think is E7C. Right?
E, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I pulled this on behalf of a community member who contacted me, Jamie. I apologize, I don't know her. Hi, Jamie.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Jamie Miller. I use she, her pronouns. Each of the commissioners have received a copy of my written public comment via email, so I will not reiterate those statements. I will instead use this time to highlight some additional inherent flaws in the fighting words doctrine. Yates v. United States held that the First Amendment protects radical and reactionary speech unless it poses a clear and present danger. Therefore, speech that causes a listener to react in a manner that breaches the peace would still be protected speech so long as it didn't pose a clear and present danger. Brandenburg v. Ohio held that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to produce such lawless action. Therefore, unless a comment is intended to produce lawlessness and lawlessness follows, the government cannot punish the speech. The proposed language is, as used in this section, fighting words means words that by their very utterance inflict injury or tend to incite the listener to an immediate breach of peace. Let me provide a more relevant example. When I previously addressed this commission, immediately after identifying myself as a transgender person, Mayor Littlejohn referred to me as Mr. Miller, multiple times. These words have inflicted injury upon me, as evidenced by my return to this topic nearly 1 year later. Would Mayor Littlejohn be guilty of disorderly conduct for failing to recognize my identity and causing me injury? My reaction at the time was to notify Mayor Littlejohn of this error and request a simple apology. He never offered such an apology, instead simply ignoring my request. If I had a stronger reaction, which met the criteria for breaching the peace, would Mayor Littlejohn then be guilty of disorderly conduct? It is reasonable to assume that a person who unapologetically misgenders a transgender person would know that such words would cause injury and would potentially or even likely incite that person to react in a manner to breach the peace. The fighting words doctrine the city is proposing through this ordinance is very controversial in First Amendment law, is overly broad in its application, has historically been used to silence political speech, and has been consistently reversed by the United States Supreme Court. It is bad law. We as a community can do much better. Lawrence is dedicated to building an inclusive community that creates a welcoming and safe environment for all people. This law essentially legalizes physical and emotional violence toward any individual who simply says something that the listener doesn't like. I encourage each of you to vote no on Ordinance 10045 and request the city attorneys to create a disorderly conduct ordinance founded in solid legal theory. Thank you.
I want to second everything he just said. She just said, I apologize.
Thank you.
That's how you do it.
Thank you.
That's how you do it. I did that on purpose so I could show you how to apologize. When a citizen, what?
Are you calling for public comment yet?
Oh,
Oh, I thought this was public comment.
no, he.
That individual.
I apologize.
Thank you, Sherry.
Yeah, I would like to have Tony or Randy speak to the ordinance changes.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Laura Graham, Assistant City Attorney. I'm happy to address the issue to some extent or to answer your questions as it may be. I want to give you a little bit of background on why we are proposing this amendment to the ordinance, first and foremost. So, on March 15th of this year, the Kansas Supreme Court ruled on a case that involved the city of Wichita's disorderly conduct ordinance. It struck certain language in their ordinance, which also resided in the Lawrence language ordinance, that was unconstitutionally overbroad. But the same section of the Wichita ordinance also included fighting words, and the court allowed that to stand. It did not strike that portion or find it unconstitutional. So the city of Lawrence's disorderly conduct code section, which is 14-409, as I said, includes that same language that was struck. We're proposing this ordinance amendment so as to alleviate that, get rid of that language that has been found problematic. But at the same time, we are putting the using fighting words language in there simply to bring Lawrence's disorderly conduct code section into alignment with Kansas statute, which prohibits disorderly conduct, and that is in KSA 21-6203. It contains virtually identical language. Furthermore, the city attorney's office consulted with the League of Kansas Municipalities on this issue and wanted to see what their input was. The league publishes updates every year of the Uniform Public Offense Code, which many municipalities simply adopt wholesale. And it's going to publish, that is the league, is going to publish its next update this summer. When it does, it told us that its disorderly conduct section will, as Lawrence is proposing to do, eliminate the language that was struck down by the Kansas Supreme Court, but it will retain or continue to have using fighting words language in there. So we have looked into the fighting words doctrine, and there is case law that's been on the books since 1942 when the U.S. Supreme Court did uphold fighting words as a, something that could be regulated. And in fact, that case law remains intact, it remains solid. It's not very often applied, but that's not to say that it's not good law. Many times, the courts that have reviewed disorderly conduct charges that are based on fighting words have found that there were not fighting words present. But again, to reiterate, the law itself remains good. So, fighting words tend to be viewed by the courts as words that, by their very utterance, inflict injury or tend to incite an immediate breach of the peace. So oftentimes they're epithets or disparaging or very abusive words. Again, while there are limited cases finding that fighting words have been spoken, indeed the case law remains intact. So we want to offer that for your consideration, and we've drafted the ordinance with that in mind.
All right. Any further questions? All right, and I will say I apologize.
About time.
Okay, guess public comment. Public comment.
Leaving where I left off, or starting where I left off. So according to your person over there, the fighting words doctrine is solid law. But she even goes so far as to say that cases which have been based on fighting words and disorderly conduct charged, they found that there were no fighting words. Now, let me tell you what that means. It means it's subjective. Subjective. Okay? That's the problem. And that's his problem, because it's subjective. Bart Littlejohn, I think you're an unapologetic asshole. Are those fighting words? Can they be? Might they be? Lisa Larson, I think you're an amnesiac Nazi. Are those fighting words? Can they be? I think the chief is a tyrannical criminal. Are those fighting words? Can they be? Do you see what I'm getting at? Free speech, as declared in the Cohen case. Free speech must be protected, including that speech which stirs emotion and stirs controversy. That's why free speech exists. That's why we retain free speech. People behind me that are scowling and shaking their heads and acting like I'm the problem in here are part of the problem because they've forgotten what their rights are. And they've forgotten the people that died to protect those rights in Nazi Germany. And it's shameful that that's happened. So if you're going to use the fighting words doctrine, you better make sure you understand what a true threat is. True threat is not mentioned in your law. Why not? Because that's really where your line is. The fighting words doctrine does not cover much because it's so damn subjective. True threats, that's something that covers something. If I was to come in here and tell you I was going to assault you outside, that would be a true threat. If I was going to tell you that as soon as you walk out the door, I'm going to do X, that is a true threat. While I'm up here, I want to make a point. No matter how loud I am, volume does not dictate disorderly conduct. No matter what's on my face, volume does not dictate disorderly conduct. I can stand up here and grit my teeth and talk all I want to, and it's not disorderly. Make sure you understand what subjectivity is, because you just got an example of the subjective things that are going to get you in trouble, and they're going to get you sued even more.
Hi, I'm Jamie Miller. I use she, her pronouns.
Jamie, since you already spoke before, you can only speak to one time.
I didn't speak for public comment.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good move. Good move.
Well done.
I'd like to respond to the comments made by City Attorney Laura Graham. And Laura and I have collaborated on some other work for this city, and we appreciate everything that the City Attorney's Office does for us. However, I would disagree with her statements that the Supreme Court has upheld the fighting words doctrine, when in fact, over the years since it was first initiated or came to being by the Supreme Court in 1942, the Supreme Court over the years has in fact narrowed that doctrine, specifically in my example of the Brandenburg v. Ohio case, where it narrowed it to the point of inflammatory speech has to have the intent of causing lawlessness, and it speaks to the imminence of the lawlessness, meaning there is no other option, but by my speaking certain words, lawlessness must then follow. So I would disagree with a lot of what Attorney Laura Graham said. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chris Flowers. Can you fart knockers give me an example of what a fighting word is? Like, is that word fart knocker, is that a fighting word? Because I found out this year, like, it's actually a gay slur. Like, it's like a long time ago, and some of us, like, I've heard that word used before, and it's just used in a joking manner, but some of these words we use, if you look in the past of them, they're problematic. Also, what happens if we pass this and someone is misgendered? Are we going to say that's a fighting word now? Also, what if someone uses the N-word? Like, I know I can't use it, but what if a Native American uses it?
I'm having a hard time here.
What if a black person uses it, but
People over here talking so much.
they're not doing it in like with that, I'm sorry,
I shit you not, folks. The same people that are going to tell me my free speech doesn't matter. It's these two right here. They're in there making so much noise that nobody else can hear in the room.
To another black person, it's like that
God.
was, because I've seen that happen before too. So, I was just wondering, can staff give an example of fighting words that aren't covered by the threat, like the threat law Michael was talking about? So, I mean, if they can't give an example, like, why can't we just use the threat, the threat or whatever as the law? I appreciate your art.
Mr. Littlejohn, I'm sorry. Can you ask people to? I can hear it all the way over here.
I appreciate that. Yes, everybody, if you could go ahead and be quiet while another person is speaking at the podium, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps us all. This room is a little bit weird, so even if you were speaking in a whisper in the corner of the room, we can hear it up here, or it can be heard in different areas of the room. Thank you very much.
Hi, again, my name is Rose Sherry. I'm a Lawrence resident. I just wanted to say that I personally do not see the benefit of including the fighting words doctrine. It seems like it has a lot of potential to limit people's freedom of speech when they come to make public comment.
That's the point.
And it is true that that convictions based on that have been consistently reversed by the Supreme Court. I don't understand why copying the Kansas State Code on it is necessary if it's already in the Kansas State Code. We don't have to include things just because they're already somewhere else. And I don't understand the benefit of including this, and it seems like it has a lot of potential chilling effects on people's speech, and it seems like it could be used, even if ultimately it doesn't hold up, to silence people when they come to say things that are important to them, to the body of the commission. So, thank you.
Good job, Rowan.
This one's gonna probably get passed, I'm gonna say. Hard to really argue this one. When it comes to the order of public comment, it's pretty obvious that this can have a huge chilling effect. With this one, it's more of, I think City Hall just trying to do more of the same thing you've always done in trying to push past people that are kind of vaguely threatening or just using time to insult City Hall. That being said, everyone that's pointed this out about this, I don't think this will really change much. The subjectivity of this subject pretty much just means that anything that you've been doing so far, I think will continue to have its same effect. Courts will knock down stuff that doesn't have that much standing. It really has to be a vague threat against you guys, which, don't get me wrong, I've heard COVID around really brought out a lot of people that came around and had a lot of vague death threats towards a lot of city officials. And so I get where this is coming from. Again, this is just back to kind of what I was referring to, kind of the unintentional chilling effect of it. We still have to take into consideration that I think there is value in just letting people let off this steam. That 3 minutes doesn't really hurt the council all that much. I think that any of us can kind of just let people say their piece and then walk away from it, even if we don't like what they're saying. And trust me, there's plenty of people that have come up here and had a litany of things that I don't like, that you guys don't like, that really not many people, but a very small minority within the community would like. But that's kind of the beauty of any of these comments around it. It brings out the best of community members. It brings out the craziest of community members. It's something very Kansan, I want to say. Not that that's unique specifically to our state. at the end of the day, and I think Mr. Accountability over here kind of demonstrated the way in which this won't change much. At the end of the day, courts will knock down any of this that's used haphazardly. And so if it's just insults, I can't see you guys needing to use this. But if it's vague death threats, hey, there's laws around that. It's something that's probably shouldn't be within any of these meetings, but it's an element of it. Take it seriously, don't take it seriously, it's of course up to you guys. But at the end of the day, I'm just talking because we're talking about free speech. You know what happened the last time. In conclusion, you're all bastards, and I'm going to plow all of your mothers consensually and lovingly later on. Have a good one.
Isn't that a true threat?
Hi, it's Jamie again, Jamie Jones here, and talking about the inclusion of the fighting words doctrine. I'm worried about this part because the inclusion of the fighting words doctrine is so open to interpretation. It could easily be used in corrupt ways to silence people.
All the time.
We instead of silencing people, or we could have like a reminder before the commission meetings to, try to speak respectfully, or we should have a reminder. But I just don't think it's going to be really taken well. Thank you.
My name's Amy. I would just like to say I have seen the two-tier justice system so frequently recently with everything going on with Trump, and I can see how this could be used and be turned bad just because, one thing's good for one group of people, but one thing's not good for another group of people. So I think it's a bad idea. Thank you. I just wanted to add that the term fighting words sounds like something third graders would talk about on the playground, because that's exactly what it is. It takes very specific kinds of Americans to even think about pursuing that issue. It's the same type of people that are ruining America.
Okay, it's not looking like there's any additional public comment here in the, okay.
Sorry, just kidding. I actually did not intend to show up to speak in public comment, but I spent 6 years living in Oklahoma, where they're very proud to have a them's fighting words situation, and I know a lot of people have talked about how this could be used to censor people. I am also concerned about how a guy on a corner who doesn't like anything you're saying can just say them's fighting words, and if you repeat them, he can assault you. Which is something that I've heard a variety of individuals express in a variety of different situations across Oklahoma, in every place that I went to. I don't know if it's because I showed up looking real queer, and that's a thing that I really can't help doing. But I am concerned about the fact that this can absolutely be used in the opposite direction as well. Because of the subjectivity of it, there is no definition of what's fighting words. There is not. But if someone says it in the moment, that those are, and it continues, that almost establishes legal validity to assault someone. And I'm not sure I'm not a legal scholar, my colleagues are, but in the moment, it's gonna keep you from feeling safe anywhere you go, and that's what I'm afraid of.
All right.
Hi, David Baston. Yeah, I agree with the people here that fighting words is pretty vague of description. I mean, I've known people that fight So who are you gonna be judging that by? Someone that, oh, one little thing hits the floor and they're ready to punch you out? Or are you gonna be at the other end of the spectrum? It seems like those words will, I think, once they're challenged specifically, those words at the Supreme Court, it's probably gonna, I would think, not have them. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks.
Okay, not seeing any, I think we'll check on Zoom for public comment.
Nan Leffingwell?
Good evening, Commissioners. I am Nan Leffingwell, a resident of Lawrence, Kansas. First, I want to thank the Commissioners that responded to my email about the ordinance we currently have in place for public spaces that ensure the peaceful assembly and freedom of speech for protesters. As a professional whose work and income are threatened by proposed federal actions like H.R. 8038, which could restrict access to platforms like TikTok, I'm acutely aware of the significance of both free speech and civil discourse. I have become concerned by the increased incidences of threats of violence against citizens who have expressed their views here, and threats of violence against commissioners for carrying out their duties. Ordinance 145, with its proposed revision to define fighting words more clearly, this refinement focuses on language with intent to inflict injury or incite violence. In my view, this revision is not about maintaining a vague standard of decorum based on perceived obscenity, rather ensuring that our community is a safe space for all members of our community to participate in democratic engagement. In this information age where every word we choose carries weight, as a creative, I face daily decisions to write headlines that play on fears and make profit, or to craft messages that connect people to their aspirations. We stand at a similar crossroads today with our governance. We can choose words that unite us or those that divide us, playing into the hands of our very real-world adversaries. Our democratic principles thrive on robust yet respectful debate. I endorse this ordinance revision so to protect our forums from becoming battlegrounds and ensure they remain grounds for respectful civil dialogue. Thank you for your commitment to our community's safety and democratic values, and it is my sincerest hope that all those who serve our community on either side of the podium can do so safely. Thank you.
Kevin Elliott?
Hi there. As I said earlier, I don't want Lawrence to become a place where free speech goes to die. Uniquely, Lawrence, is hate language a fighting language? Why or why not? You need to answer that before you start bandying around the term. Uniquely, Lawrence, is our corrupt DA ready to accept all complaints against hate language as fighting words? If that's the route you want to take, then be ready to back it up. So maybe we can use this. But I have to disagree with my friend Kirby. There's a lot of damage that we done with this. You can call something fighting words, and then by the time Michael Ravi or Dr. Spees gets through the court case, they've been silenced, whether or not the court throws it out. And I think our city attorney has done us a big disservice by not actually reporting to us on the history of fighting language on the court docket. She said the term itself was protected, as she didn't talk about the use of the term, which is generally not upheld. And I think that sort of failure of our city attorney is part of what we need to address. Not the people, not silencing the people, but cleaning up the brush and the cat. Thank you.
Stephen Watts? Stephen Watts?
See, in case you missed it, over here in the corner is where Tony Wheeler's sitting. And she was sitting up at the front table, but she traded spots with the other attorney so that she could own this one.
Hello? Nope.
No, sir. We can hear you, but can't see.
Okay, that's all right. I just wanted to point out to the commission that I have been texting since 6:33 to the so-called monitor to get some information, and nothing, there's no response. At the beginning of every meeting, there's stated that this text chat is monitored. I have asked for clarification in the text chat with respect to...
All right, guys. You know, it doesn't matter what it's regarding. He's been trying to text in and talk to them, and they weren't answering. But guys, you see what's going on. The citizens are coming out and saying, don't do stuff. They're going to do the fighting words doctrine, and the attorney comes in and actually act like the fighting words doctrine is Supreme Court law. And I'm sorry if you can't hear me. Let me step out in the vestibule here so people can hear a little better. So, the city attorneys, and over there in the corner was where Tony Wheeler was. She was just sitting there, not really doing anything. She had traded spots with that other blonde-haired attorney because I don't know, Tony didn't want to own this one herself. But so what happens here is they're going to create a subjective policy, and that's really what they're doing. It's all subjective about fighting words, and they're going to say that if you say something that makes somebody want to fight, that now you've committed a crime and you are disorderly and you're going to be arrested for disorderly conduct. And that's basically how they've been doing it around here for a long time. They've been basically saying, okay, you're causing a disruption even though you don't say anything. Your sign is causing a disruption. Now it's the words on your sign. Now it's the words that out of your mouth, it's the words out of your sign. Words, that's the whole point. They're words. Guys, this is the Lawrence, Kansas City Commission. Leave them a comment, send them an email. I'll be back again next week, but I got to go get prepped for a court case on Thursday. We've got the hearing on the felony interference charge on Thursday. Wish me luck. Signing off, guys.